Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Rapidan Dam. My name is Eric Weller. I am the Blue Earth County Emergency Management Director, and with me today I've got the Blue Earth County Sheriff Jess Wursel and the Blue Earth County Highway Public Works Director and Engineer Ryan Tilgis with me this morning. Ryan is going to go through some kind of a chronological order of kind of why we or how we got to this point. And then we'll open it up for questions as well for myself or the sheriff as we go along. So,
can you give us spellings on all the names?
Yep,
please?
when they come up here, they will.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Ryan Tilgis. I'm the Blue Earth County Engineer and Public Works Director. As stated, spelling of my name, R-Y-A-N, T as in Tom, H-I-L-G-E-S. So I'll go through a chronological order of the events that transpired leading us to today. The Blue Earth County Public Works Department is responsible for the oversight and monitoring of the Rapidan Dam. We've been continually doing that. It began with notifications as late as last week of high flows. The dam has an emergency action plan that's mandated by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which is the FERC, as I'll refer to it throughout my speech today. On late last week, we issued notification of flows exceeding 10,000 cubic feet per second, which required closure of the county park campground that's downstream of the dam, and we also elected to close the bridge deck of the dam to onlookers. On Sunday, we observed that flows were above the 15,000 CFS cubic feet per second threshold. We issued a second round of notifications Sunday afternoon after inspection of the dam on site. At that time, there was a considerable amount of debris caught upstream of the dam on the upstream bridge pier that was not accessible for us to attempt to remove it. There was a little bit or some debris in 2 of the 5 gates. However, the dam was passing more than adequate flows, and we inquired to a contractor about their availability to come out and work on the bridge deck with a specialized piece of equipment, an excavator with a special bucket on it, where they've attempted to push those logs through the dam before. They've done it in previous situations. That contractor stated that the piece of equipment with the right bucket was about 5.5 hours away, and they also cited that they had significant concerns about their safety in attempting to push the handful of logs that were there through because of the excessively high flows. Sunday night, staff checked the dam again about 9 p.m., and it was still passing more than adequate flow. There wasn't an excess of debris accumulated. Sometime over the night, Sunday night, that debris upstream of the dam that was accumulated on the bridge pier, as well as a bunch more debris, probably 2 to 3 times more debris, came down the river and clogged the 5 steel gates that pass flow through the dam. At 1:30 a.m., a notification was issued that the dam was overtopping. Emergency management and public works staff were on site shortly after. At approximately 3 a.m., we started a next round of emergency notifications per the dam's emergency action plan. As flows peaked, potential failure of the west abutment became obvious as flows began to cut around the west side of the abutment. The term imminent threat was used. That's a term that's utilized in the emergency action plan, and that's actually the technical term used in the emergency action plan. It was perhaps a more cautious approach, but we wanted to make sure that we were being as cautious as possible in advising people downstream, as well as the regulatory agencies that were required to notice per the emergency action plan. It really was more of a partial failure of the west abutment as the water continued to run around the west side of the dam, and it's resulted in additional erosion and slope cutting. As you can see, we lost the Xcel Energy power substation, as well as a large park storage building and the materials that were stored in there. And as you can see now, the private residence to the west is threatened by the flows and by the undercutting and slope cutting that's happening. The flows peaked yesterday at 34,800 cubic feet per second. Currently, they're flowing at 33,000 cubic feet per second. With that being said, that makes this the second largest flood ever of record at the Rapidan Dam. The previous second largest flood of a record happened in 2019 that caused significant damage to the dam. That was 32,500 cubic feet per second. The largest flood ever of record that disabled the dam for well over a decade happened in 1965. That was a 500-year flood event. That flow was 43,100 cubic feet per second. The bridge on County Road 9 is closed to the public for safety reasons, for a multitude of reasons. One, because we've got several employees and emergency response staff on site utilizing the bridge for observation. Two, because of the sheer number of people that are out here observing, wanting to see what's happening. And three, just so that we can ensure that the dam is safe, that the abutments have not had scour or haven't been compromised. So prior to reopening the bridge, we want to perform an evaluation of the bridge piers to ensure that they are safe for reopening the bridge to fully legally loaded units. With that being said, right now the Public Works Department as well as our emergency response partners are in a mode of assessment and evaluation of the dam. And I do want to thank other federal agencies for their assistance as well as state agencies. We've received technical assistance from the United States Army Corps of Engineers, who are actually on site today. They were on site yesterday as well, assisting the county with technical evaluation and evaluation and observation of the dam. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, aka the FERC, will have one of their structural engineers out here this afternoon. Currently, the FERC is responsible for licensure and oversight of the Rapidan Dam, so the county will be working with the FERC to do necessary after incident reporting. We've already done several notifications to them, and we've had numerous conversations with their engineers and their leadership in Chicago and in Washington, D.C. As far as the next steps go, we're going to continue with our investigation and analysis as flows hopefully subside, and we'll be working with the FERC and the Army Corps of Engineers on site visits and evaluations on the integrity and the safety of the dam, as well as the Minnesota Department of Transportation and other consulting firms on the safety of the upstream bridge. The Blue Earth River is not a full contributor to all of the flows that are impacting the areas downstream of us, farther downstream. Prior to convergence with the Minnesota River, the Le Sueur River also converges with the Blue Earth. So the flows at Rapidan are not the total of the flows that are coming into Mankato in the Minnesota River. I want to clarify that. The dam has been operated as fully open, run-of-river flow. So whatever's come into the dam since 2019, since that flood happened in 2019, whatever's come into the dam has been passed through the dam. So we're not holding back a significant amount of water. The upstream basin of the dam is actually full of sediment that's accumulated over 110 years lifespan of the dam. So the sediment has effectively led to no pool of water available for electrical generation. So whatever flows are coming in have to leave the dam. And that's how it's been operated for the last 5+ years. A few facts about the dam that you may find interesting is that the dam is 87 feet tall and 475 feet wide. Additionally, the watershed, or the contributing areas that lead to flows through the dam, is 2,430 square miles, which includes the Blue Earth and Watonwan River watersheds. Additionally, for those that may be in the know, the Blue Earth River is a highly erosive and very steep river. So we have a lot of sediment problems in the Blue Earth River, a lot of erosion problems, which you can see obviously with the flows that are happening here today. That's obviously contributing to the challenges that we have and the flood issue here at the Rapidan Dam. With that, I'm happy to answer any technical questions that you may have with respect to the ownership of the dam or the structure.
Are you saying that the river level decreased, went down from yesterday to today?
The flows at the downstream of the dam, there's a USGS flow monitoring station. The flows went down. They peaked yesterday at 34,800 cubic feet per second. Currently, they're at 33,000 cubic feet per second. So it's a slight decrease.
So we're past the peak. So does that mean the level of threat and the level of concern is still as high?
It's still a high level of threat and concern because, again, this is still exceeding the second largest flood ever of record passing through the dam. But it's slightly decreasing. However, it's somewhat flatlined at this point, what I've observed.
What message do you have for folks who are watching this at home and say that the county is downplaying the threat?
I maybe let our sheriff, our emergency manager, speak to that. But the dam, the large, there's in the emergency action plan, there's discussion of the threat, and this has been deemed a low threat dam by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Sorry. The FERC has deemed this a low threat dam because of the potential threat to life and property downstream of the dam. There are a handful of residences that were notified in our communication and our protocol for our emergency action plan. They've been notified. The volume of water is honestly probably less of a concern. It's more of an environmental concern if the dam were to totally breach because of the volume of sediment that's withheld upstream of the dam. And that's more concerning just for the potential ecological impacts of the dam. I'm going to let Eric finish that.
Yeah, I want to go back to something that happened yesterday along with that question. There's a mistruth out there that people believe if the dam had a catastrophic failure that a wall of 7-foot water would coming, and social media picked up on that right away, and we played catch up the entire day with media and social media trying to get that figured out. And so the water level in a catastrophic event would not be that significant. As Ryan said, we did talk to the people that were highly impacted and additional people. So we followed the plan that we're required to do.
So what would happen exactly if the dam did break?
So the emergency action plan actually has calculated, and there was very detailed hydraulic modeling done as part of the emergency action plan development, and it details at certain locations downstream of the dam if there were a full breach under flood condition, and I'm going to put that with the caveat that the full flood condition was almost 42,000 cubic feet per second is what was modeled, which was the maximum flood capacity of the dam to pass without debris in the gates. Okay, so if the dam were flowing at close to 42,000 cubic feet per second, it modeled what the increase in tailwater or downstream water elevation would be at different stations and locations. And in the emergency action plan, if you're, I believe it was almost in the ballpark of 2 miles downstream of the dam, it'd be approximately a 2-foot rise in tailwater or downstream water elevation. By the time you get to Mankato, you're down 10 miles downriver of the dam. It's in the neighborhood of 0.2 to 0.3 of a foot. So 3 to 4 inches increase in tailwater level, because obviously that volume of water, again, we're not holding back a significant volume of water. We're passing what's coming to the dam, we're passing it through. So that volume of water, as it spreads out over that length of the river and over the tributary, the area of the river, it results in, like I said, 3 to 4 inch rise at Mankato. That's documented in the county emergency action plan.
So the west, you mentioned the word
What?
abutment. You mentioned the word breach, Eric. You kind of went to the social media end of it. Is there such thing as a partial breach? Is it a total breach? Where are we at with the breach word in looking at this dam?
What I would call this is a partial failure of the west abutment.
So it's not part of the dam itself?
Correct. The structure of the dam is still intact and in place. The water ran around, as you can see right behind me, the water ran around the west edge of the dam and is now eroding the slopes to the west and to the north.
So how high is the possibility of the dam itself being breached? Like percent?
I think it's reduced with what's happened behind us.
That's my question. I mean, is it still under threat of breaching entirely, or is it?
Well, we're still concerned about, and again, that's why I said we've got the Army Corps of Engineers out here, and we've got the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission folks coming out as well. They're still concerned because the dam is constructed on highly erodible sandstone bedrock when it was built in the early 1900s. And as we've seen, there's been already significant decay of the sandstone bedrock outcropping that came off of the left wing wall. That's already decayed overnight. So as those flows continue to progress, they're going to scour away that sandstone bedrock and create concern. Now, obviously, the struggle is with these flows, we can't get down there and evaluate how bad it is, which is why we've taken the precaution of closing the bridge.
So when it comes to that erosion of this area right here, how much of this part are we going to see in the days to come? Is that the issue that you're saying here? Can you help us visualize that?
Yeah, that's a good question. The decay that happened from yesterday evening when I left until early this morning when I returned was considerably less than what we saw happen over the course of the day yesterday. And what I think we're observing now is that it's cut away the glacial till material and the soil and gravel that's on top, and it's found its way down to those layers of bedrock, and it appears that the bedrock is kicking the water back over into a channel closer to the dam. Our staff is evaluating if there are other emergency measures we could attempt to do safely to try to preserve the road and the parkland that we have here. However, employee safety and public safety is paramount for us.
Technical question. My understanding as far as regular inspections, that the last regular inspection was found the dam satisfactory. Is this like an instance where like better maintenance or better investment in this would have affected this, or was this mostly about the debris or something unrelated?
In May of this year, the FERC inspected the dam with the county and found it to be in satisfactory condition with run of river. This is a result of the fact that we've had several dry years, and as trees die along the river valley, we've got a heavily wooded river valley, and as trees die, they fall. We get these massive runoffs, which is, again, as I said, this is the second largest flood ever. The previous flood in 1965 completely overtopped and inundated the dam as well. It didn't breach the west abutment because there wasn't the debris accumulation like this. But with that being said, this is the result of the debris that came down the river overnight, coupled with the extremely high flows.
How old is the dam, one more time, please?
The dam was built in 1910.
So what you're saying is that the dam probably won't break and destroy Mankato.
No.
It would be impossible for it to inundate North Mankato, Mankato.
What I'm saying is the water that's coming into the dam is the volume of water coming into the dam is the same volume of water that's going out at the same rate.
Yeah, you talked about the sediments and the ecological impact potentially of that sediment. Like, what are you looking into in terms of that? Like all that buildup upstream?
It's already been studied to I'd say almost to extremes. It's documented in numerous studies within the dam. So we know that if the dam were to breach, say in the middle, or fully fail and tip over or slide or something of that nature, which we hope is not going to happen, then the sediment loss is a bigger concern.
You're down significantly from yesterday. How much will we be down today or tomorrow from today? I mean, it seems like the sky.
Well, I would, not to be argument whatsoever. I don't know that I use the term significantly. This is still a very extreme flow, so what we're at now is still exceeding the second largest flood ever of record. We're down about 2,800 cubic feet per second, which if you put that into a percentage of 33,000 is relatively small. I don't know. We're still seeing a lot of standing water all over, and obviously we've got a lot of drainage area that's contributing to the dam, so I don't have that information available. We've sought information on crest and flow projections, and we're struggling to find accurate models.
In your opinion, do you think it's going to take that house, the erosion?
I honestly can't say. I'm not a geotechnical engineer. I'm a transportation engineer, and we hope not. But I don't. We've not been able to assess the home. It's a private home, so there is we did help the landowners get some materials and some possessions out of the home yesterday, prior to evacuating it, to be of whatever assistance we could. It's really not our position to help evaluate the home for structural integrity. We wanted to make sure that they're safe first and foremost. I think if it's possible that the home could be lost, though. I can't give you a percentage. Again, it's outside of my area of expertise.
One more question.
What's your title again for us?
County Engineer and Public Works Director.
Do you think there's worse? Any estimate? Is there much settlement going through with this, or do they not know? I mean,
We don't, obviously there's a lot of sediment going through just from the erosion that's happening along the river, but as far as the sediment from the upstream basin, Tim, I think you're referring to, right? We don't think at this point there's a lot going through, but it's hard to tell right now. I was on the phone with the Army Corps of Engineers earlier this morning, and we believe that there's a earthen and rock cofferdam that's keyed in that you can see behind us, where you see the flow profile change. He believes that shows up on the FERC engineer, regional engineer believes that shows up on one of the as-built drawings, as we were relying on them for technical expertise. So we think that's actually helped protect a large volume of that sediment upstream of the dam, which in turn helps protect our bridge pier footings.
All right. I would end on a couple notes here. On behalf of the county, we want to thank all the partners that did respond to this. Ryan talked about it, some of our state and federal partners. Also locally, our city of Mankato, North Mankato had partnered in, so we do appreciate all of that. The other thing that I would just mention, XL Energy has been a great partner in restoration, I believe, and Anna's here as well. Everybody has been restored. It was just under 600 homes were impacted, with the exception, you can see behind you, the XL trucks working to get some power here. But their substation, they had a couple hundred employees down here and equipment yesterday in here and in Mankato, and we appreciate their quick response in trying to get those residences back online as quick as they could, just because of the weather and what it is. And we do look for some weather, good weather the next few days, and hopefully the next system next week we can get these rivers to come down. So that is it, unless there's any other questions for me.
Your name?
Yeah, Eric Weller, ERICWELLER. I'm the Emergency Management Director for Blue Earth County.
So worst case scenario, if the whole dam were to fall, I don't know if that's the worst case scenario, would there not be an initial water flow that would be higher than what they were talking about? Like, not a monsoon.
There might be a brief.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There may be a brief surge. However, that would be a very short period of time, and then we'd be back to run-of-river flows.
That would not be a large wall of water that could take out North Mankato.
No, that's incorrect. Yep,
Thank you.
that would not happen. One more.
Because the dam survived more water previously, does that mean it's likely in pretty good shape now that it's beginning to go down and held thus far, or not?
Well, when it survived the more water previously, again, was back in 1965, that major flood. In 2019, there were severe damages to the dam that happened, that we've been studying. We've been trying to determine the path of action for the county, because it's a tremendous financial investment. So there was significant damage to the hydroelectric generation components, the gates. This is why the gates have been left in wide open run of river, because they can partially be closed, but the FERC has been agreeable to leaving the gates wide open. And it was more tied to the hydro, but there was also a scour hole downstream of the dam that the county's been monitoring. And again, we've got a large concrete apron downstream that's had holes scoured in it due to the highly erosive flows. We've been monitoring that prior to this event. That hole had not been growing, and we believed it had neutralized. So again, once this subsides and we can go out there and do a topographic survey of that hole to determine the extent of it and the damages, that requires extremely low flows.
Thank you, everyone.